Hey yo, what's up? What's up? Welcome back to my channel, blackswanradio.com. I'm your host, Rondell L. Jordan. And this is our place for worldview conversation and flight music, because this is where I encourage you to go above and beyond, explore this world and the Word of God, because the Word of God is access to the world of God. Knowledge is the power, right? When you apply it in your life, allows you to create experiences that are spectacular, wonderful, fantastic, superb. And you have to be specific in your use of words. Can't be cool all the time. You see what I'm saying? It's one thing to be down to earth, but you understand that that's a certain lingo. But it's another thing to be in high frequency, individual. And if you're a high frequent, if you are a person that is trying to materialize or manifest or realize specific outcomes, you have to be specific in your spelling. You understand what I'm saying? And what I've done is I've studied the word and the world. When I was young, I graduated 3 days later. I went off to boot camp. And the reason why I joined the Navy is because I wanted to explore the world. And I knew that that was a method, the best method for me to be able to accomplish my goal. Now, when I left my parents' home, the day I left, my dad gave me a little red Bible. And, I didn't really know, but what he was giving me was the word, the keys, access. And so when I was on my journey across the Atlantic, through the Mediterranean, down across the Suez Canal, into the Arabian Sea, and up into the Persian Gulf, I seen Mount Sinai. I seen Egypt. We stopped in Greece and the Turks, and Turkey, and France, Spain, and there was a connection between the word history, and reality. You see, and that's beyond belief. That's getting to know whether what we believe in is true or not. Belief, as I say often, is the first stage of understanding. But see, belief, there's room there for error. Someone said, ask you a question, you say, I believe so. You see, that's not to know. God don't believe, God knows. See, knowledge is power. Belief is the first step, but faith is the second step. Faith is when you put action to what you believe in, whether you believe in yourself, whether you believe it's something possible, but you don't yet know whether it's possible yet. So you step out on faith and you invest in it, whether it's energy, whether it's money, whether it's time, efforts. And the end results is you get to know. This is the reason why it says that knowledge makes you like gods, knowing good and evil. But in the first start, the beginning of the statement says, God knows in the day you eat thereof, your eyes will be open. And see, we living in a society where that's seen as a negative. It says your eyes will be open. So what it's telling you is that before, their eyes were closed. They were blindsided. It said the Lord caused a deep sleep to fall upon Adam. And he slept. People focused on he took his rib. They don't focus on the fact that he was placed in an unconscious state. That's how the art of distraction is. And his eyes weren't open until his wife consumed the fruit and shared the fruits of knowledge with him. She didn't seduce him. According to the story, she gave of the fruit to her husband who was with her. And he ate. And the eyes of both of them were open, and they knew that they were naked, and they sewed fig leaves together and made for themselves coverings. They covered each other, which is different than, Noah in his garden, his state of consciousness came from a self-inflicted. He got high off his own supply. He got drunk in his own vineyard. See, Adam and Eve, they were being kept ignorant. So they were innocent. But Noah's, when everything was wiped out and redone, reset, he did the same thing. But this time it was a self-inflicted state of unconsciousness, drunkenness, off his own vineyard, not the vineyard of the Lord's. And what happened? Ham stumbled upon his father. Biblically, nakedness represents ignorance. And as a result, Noah cursed Cain, just like the Lord cursed Cain. Even though the Lord is the cause of the enmity, he's literally said to Adam, I will put enmity between you and the woman, between her seed and your seed. He shall bruise your head, and she shall bruise his heel. That is the central premise of the entire Bible, is the curse. Of which, at the end, in Revelations 22, it says, the leaves of the tree were for the healing of the nation, and there shall be no more curse. They give you the cure at the end, knowing that most people won't research from the beginning to the end, the Alpha, the Omega, the beginning, the end, the first and the last, the Genesis to the Revelations. They can't see the connections because they've been told not to connect. They told not to question. They were told, matter of fact, don't even worry about the Old Testament. The New Testament was to do away with the Old Testament, which is a miseducation. Jesus said, have you not read that he who made them at the beginning made them male and female? He's quoting Genesis 1:27. God formed male and female in the same sentence. But people don't realize that there's a difference between created, made, and formed. Created means to bring something into existence. Made means to piece something together, to put your heart in its place, its liver in its place, the kidney in its place, your colon's in its place, and everything's working as a cooperation function to make you. See, that's to make. But to form is to shape and configure something. Such as to take the mouflon or the wild sheep that looks like a ram with a brown coat to protect them from the natural elements of the earth, with a set of horns to protect them from the natural elements or the competitors, the predators. And man has formed that creature into the mouflon. Into the sheep. The mouflon into the sheep. So now it is dependent upon a shepherd that has no defense against the wolves. And the enemy of the shepherd is the wolf, the serpent. But that was not the case for the Nubians. If you go to Nubia, if you go to Aswan, and as you entering the temple, you will see a line of rams. Ramses. Have you ever seen the view of a ram from the highest peaks of the mountains, on top of, able to scale the steepest cliffs, to go in no man's land? Yeah. As a ram sees, a king sees, oversees. A lot of what we know, especially when it comes to our history, is through the eyes of the foreigner. Even this biblical story, it takes place in the Nile River Valley. But it is written from a foreigner's perspective. It's a foreigner who's come into the black lands. They came down through the way of the river. And it's hidden. I can prove it to you in many ways. The story, like I said, the Alpha and Omega, the beginning and the first and last, the Genesis and the Revelations, they're connected in many different ways. So in this last minute, 45 seconds, I'm going to give you a clear example. In Genesis 2, this is the beginning, really, because the introduction, Genesis 1 is an introduction, and even in the introduction, it starts at a river. It includes the water, and if you listen closely, there's messaging hidden. So let's start out. The first verse, or the first, let's see, the beginning. In the beginning, God created the heavens and the earth. The earth was without form. That's very important to understand. The word form was used. And void. And darkness was on the face of the deep. You see, darkness was on the face of the deep. That's at least a double entendre. And the Spirit of God was hovering over the face of the waters. See, it starts at the waters. Genesis 2, verse 10, now a river went out of Eden to water the garden, and from there it parted and became 4 river heads. The name of the first is Pishon. It is the one which encompasses the whole land of Havilah, where there is gold, and the gold of that land is good. Bdellium and onyx stone are